All right. Good morning to me. Good evening to you. What's going on? Karibu sana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There you are. Welcome. If you haven't been to my live before, welcome. Also, make sure you are in the YouTube app and then hit live chat next to the thumbs up, thumb down. As you give me a thumbs up, then hit the live chat. How are you? How are you? Good morning. It's prayer time. They you can't hear them, but because I can barely hear them, but they're like at certain times of day they do prayer over the loudspeakers. What's cracking? I don't know if it's a lag or not, and I don't know. Can you hear me? Okay, so I got my ceiling fan on, but it rained, and so it's a little cool out, which is good sleeping weather. Are you still with me? I had also, okay, I was thinking about some books that I was reading because I had started listening to some of my audiobooks over again. And it just made me start thinking about a bunch of stuff. Like some of them are novels, but these novels are based on historical facts, mostly during the slavery era. And I know I had I always share my books when I'm reading them when they're like really, really good. So this one that I just listened to for like the fifth time is called Jubilee. And this book was written like in the 40s or 50s or something like that. But it was based on the author's great grandmother. So it was a really good book that took you from the time the great grandmother was born all the way through the Civil War to post Civil War and the hard time that slaves had adjusting and adapting after slavery. It's one of those books that gets your blood to boiling, but also gets you to thinking if you're working on your family tree, because a lot of times what happened with the family trees is people just disappear off the face of the map. It looks like so what it is like if you got back to your great or great grandparents, because I know I'm a little older than most people, but if you got back to like your great or great grandparents and it was the late 1800s and they just disappeared, there's several reasons that could have been. And so what I learned in these books is that one, when slavery was abolished, a lot of the enslaved people changed their names because they didn't want anything. Hey, Nikita, what's going on, girl? Just chit-chatting and welcome about these books that I'm reading. And I know I had sent you the link for one for Jubilee. So I'm kind of talking about Jubilee. Jubilee was a novel, and I wonder, can I? Oh, that's the thing, working on your phone and your laptop. So the links are on my phone, but I needed, I got the hiccups too. This book is based on this lady's great grandmother, like I said. And the reason why they get placed in the novel category is because even though they're based on an actual person, they weren't there and they don't know all the actual events, and some things get lost in translation, you know, when it trickles down the family tree. Hey, Mpongo, did I say that right? So what happens is they have to add events to make it into an actual full-size novel. So into a full-size book. So it gets heaped into the novel category, but usually either in the preface or at the end of the book, they tell you that, this was based on my great grandmother or so and so, so and so. So, like I said, with this book, Jubilee, I have read this book like 5 times or listened to the audiobooks. And I just finished it again. So, I'm really set on people doing their family trees so they can know the history, where they come from. And so it gave me a light bulb. And then my little buddy over here, he asked me to go live. And so I figured I would discuss what happened, how we lost our history, especially in, the diaspora versus in Africa. And I know probably the same thing happened as well, similar to, but in the diaspora, it happened a lot where after slavery, slaves wanted nothing to do with their masters, so they changed their names, they moved around, and then sometimes for reasons out of their control, they had to move again and kind of change their identity because of, this was like the birth of the Ku Klux Klan. They were, once slavery was abolished and everybody, the energy was angry, contrary to popular belief, like right after the Civil War, Blacks in the United States did have voting rights. But then in come the Ku Klux Klan, and they are terrorizing people and just, killing people, lynching people, and instilling fear to the point that, we're not voting anymore. And now they can come in, and I think something similar is going on right now, again, where they're putting restrictions on who can vote. Hey, Peter, how are you? Mambo beep beep four mambo. Yeah, so we have a rich history. And so here on the continent, a lot of stuff is not written down, like how we had census reports and all this stuff. It's just handed down to, from your mother to the daughter, or from your father to the son. And then somewhere it gets lost in the translation. So I have talked to a couple of people here, and they're like, what? So I think one of the things that, because this family tree thing is just on me, I think what I'm going to, start with somebody and just kind of help them here in the continent. I want to try to make some connections and see if anybody can remember, if I can speak with some elders and go back as far as they can go to see just who they lost during, because over here in East Africa, Zanzibar was a major slave port. So a lot of that stuff is original buildings and everything. Like when I went to Ghana, and they still had the castles up in Ghana. So once those people left here and they got to the diaspora, and then they were given these, as they call it, Mzungu names, European Western names, we lost our African heritage in that slave trade. We lost a lot of culture and heritage. Some people in the Gullah area of South Carolina, they still held on. They're still holding on to some of their beliefs. They speak like, some people think they have a Caribbean accent, but they still kind of kept their dialect. And it's actually a mixture of an African dialect and American dialect. And Jamaica, they have the patois. They don't like you to call it that though, but they have their tongues. They have to, it was kind of separate, what is it? Conquer and divide. You separate people so they couldn't communicate with each other because of the different tongues. So you're forced to learn English. And one of the things here with the late president that I found out about him was that here in Tanzania, the president just passed away. If you didn't know, I mean, that was like world news, but for obvious reasons. President Magufuli, he did not give interviews in English. If you wanted to interview him, you had to speak Swahili. So that was one of the things that made him stand out from everybody else. He did not try to make you comfortable. You know, if you come to my house, you speak my language. So I'm still working on my Swahili. And let me see what we have here. And each country in Africa agreed to accept 20,000 brothers and sisters from America, that American will have less than 4,000 Black American. You know, they wouldn't allow it. That's a great point. If somebody hosted us, but if you're familiar with Marcus Garvey, you will know that they ain't gonna let that happen. If too many of us, that's why we get mum before we leave, and then we say, hey, look, we on the continent. Because if too many people in the United States start making this exodus at the same time, they're gonna put a stop to it. It's history. It's just the history. Marcus Garvey had over 5 million people that he was fixing to bring back to Africa. And look what they did to him. They slandered his name. They sent an infiltrator in and sent him to jail and did all sorts of stuff. This man had over 500 businesses listed under his name and under his business name, under his brand name. They didn't call it a brand back then, but he had the Black Star brand. And, you know, when I started working on my family tree and stuff, I kind of turned into a historian. So it's like, I want to know as much as I can about our history and our culture. And we come from all over, and we're, you know, for those of us in the diaspora, we're mixed up with a little bit of everything. And it's hard, it's very rare. And I guess if you go to the Sudan and then some of these other tribes, the Maasai tribe, and find some pure African people, because people have just come in and just, you know, tried to weaken that bloodline, so to speak. That it should be gradual. Yes, it should. We're coming. We're here. We are showing up. I have people on a regular basis that tell me, hey, I'm coming. What can I expect? What can I do? And so for us, we get here, and it's not that we're mistreated, but they have this misconception that everybody that comes here is filthy rich and just have money to throw away. Yeah, so, you know, they're stopping people. They're making up all this stuff. Like one of my family members just went on a vacation from the US, and they had to take a shot to get out of the country. But if you have to take the shot to get out of the country, and he's on his vacation, and then for him to come back into the country, he had to take a test. What's the point? What are you telling me? The message that you're sending me is that your shot ain't too cool. But that's all I'm gonna speak on about that. But back to our history. For those of us that do not understand, I really wish I would have, I wasn't thinking to transfer that stuff over here on my laptop. This book is one of the best books that I have read that gives you a look into how things operated in slavery, and how, hey, doing Garvey, how slavery, how things operated, what went on. Yes, some people didn't get treated bad, but then others were just treated like crap. There was diseases, because people always say, oh, you eating that slave food. What you fail to realize is that a lot of times during slavery, the slaves didn't even get to eat meat. They may have got the fat off of the pig, but they didn't get food. And so, you know, when you say slave food, you might say slave master food, because them collard greens and sweet, them candied yams and ham and all that stuff, that wasn't for the slave. That was cooked for the slave master. And the slaves got very few nutrients in their system in most plantations. And there was this disease that they would get from this lack of nutrients where their tongue would swell up and turn black. I can't think of the name of it. And it was almost like an epidemic, but it would go through because they didn't have certain proteins in their diet. And so they would get this disease and it would kill them. It would literally kill them because most of the time you got a handful of corn after you've worked out in the field all day long. And then you go and you got to grind that corn up and make what they call corn pone, which I'm assuming, and if anybody know, let me know. Corn pone is nothing but hoe cakes, fried cornbread. So you had no vegetable, you had no meat. And most days, that's all you had was a cornmeal patty, which was ground up corn mixed with water and cooked over an open fire. Now, some plantations, they did allow their slaves to have a little bitty plot to grow some vegetables in. You know, you read these stories and you're like, how did these people even survive? You know, but so many people are quick to say, oh, you're eating that slave food. When the slaves barely had food to survive, they got shoes maybe once a year if they were in a place where it was cold. If it was somewhere in the South, they might have not even got that one pair of shoes. So that is why I encourage people to read these stories, read these books, but make sure when you read them that they're based on true facts. You know, yes, you got novels, and then you have novels that are based on someone's actual way of life. There's a few books that, Beverly Jenkins, I think she's from Detroit, a homegirl. All of her romance novels are based on basically historical facts, and she gives you all of her notes and things that where she gets her information from. And I even learned things about my home state that I didn't even know. Like I think Michigan has the second oldest historically Black church, and then it gave the reason why Black churches came to be, because we were actually still trying to do our little African spirituality stuff in the woods. We couldn't get caught because then, you know, there would be hell to pay. But these white people use the scripture against us. They're still using the scripture against us because most people are living in fear that they're going to go to hell. So if you pick up a book and you learn something about your history, you know, you'll know where most of this stuff come from, and you'll understand, like even now, how we're being manipulated, living in fear because of media. The media is not, you know, if you've noticed, if you're old enough to notice that you used to be able to turn on the TV and get a real news report and watch some decent TV shows, but now everything is pushing an agenda, including the news. If it's not somebody getting killed or this pandemic or something negative, very rarely, and I haven't watched TV in like years because it just went to garbage. It went to garbage, and now all they're telling you is what they want you to hear, which is usually something very negative. So maybe they shot you with a virus. Yeah, not me. Not I. So if I gotta go dig a tunnel and get to the underground, it's not going down over here. You know, this is with anything, and this doesn't just start here with this pandemic. I'm a war vet, and when I got on that airplane to go, they were giving us all these crazy shots to go to this war, and I was like, I think I'm pregnant. The bottom line, I'm not taking that stuff. And so they were like, well, we got to take this test. And that was back when you didn't get no pregnancy test back in the same day. It took a couple of days. But they said, in the meantime, you go get your butt on that airplane and we'll send your results to you. But you can't take these shots. Good looking out. Yeah, the one that I mentioned, the injection that I mentioned. Yeah, so you don't know what you're getting. They don't know what they're giving you. I watched a couple of videos explaining the process of making these things, and one stated that it actually takes about 4 years for any immunization to come to pass because it has to be tested. It has to be, make sure that it's safe and all this other stuff. And so now you just pop up in less than a year with something. I'm good, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. We're talking about, yes, yours, Chumps, you got me pregnant. Cut it out. We want our child support too. And some college tuition. So yes, welcome, Karibu Sana. So yeah, y'all, when I was telling y'all to do these trees, there's a method to the madness. You can't know where you're going unless you know where you come from, where you've been. And we've been through a lot. We have been through an absolute lot. And once you start digging, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm nosy, but once you start digging into them 1800s and you want to go further, and then all of a sudden it's just no more information on us because they didn't care enough to take records on us. This is where if you have some elders, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, fortunately, my mom is still with me. She's 89 years old, and but she has dementia, unfortunately, and she is our senior member of our family. So I can't get no more information out of her. And I'm like, why didn't I start this sooner? I thought about it, and while I was thinking about it, and she was in her right mind, taking these DNA tests and all this stuff, because I've been on Ancestry, it told me since 2009. And I was like, what was I doing on Ancestry? Back then the testing was like $300. So by the time I did finally get my testing done, I caught it on sale for maybe $59 or $69. And I'm looking at a tree that just had me, my mom and dad on it or something. And I'm like, when did I even start this? Now I've got like almost 3,000 people on my tree because I'm finding more and more family members and to people that was born back in the 1800s. And I know I keep telling y'all the story of one of my second great grandfathers. He was murdered after the Civil War. He was a politician, a Republican politician in Louisiana. And unfortunately, that didn't set too well with the people, and he was murdered in his own yard. Well, reading his stories in his books, I found another brother in those readings that I didn't have on my tree, that I didn't know existed, because some of those records, luckily this parish in Louisiana, they took some really good records, but I still didn't know that this particular brother existed. And I got these records. These were from like congressional notes that were taken, articles that were written, because he was in the Louisiana, what was it, House Assembly or something like that, kind of like the Senate or something like that. And he was the first. This guy tells me it's a really big deal. And I was like, why do you keep asking me about him? Because I don't really know, I don't know. And he said it's a really big deal. He was like one of the first political murders after the Civil War. And so, and I was like, wow. And he starts sending me all these articles and all this stuff. And I was like, gosh, but I'm picking through it, trying to find some information that I didn't have on my tree. So I've turned into like a family detective, trying to find out information. And like I said, y'all, please start on them trees. Or if you don't even want to, I have one cousin, she writes everything in a book, which for me, I'm not that organized. So I have to use an app or something online. Why do I have the hiccups? I got the hiccups so bad. I know I ain't growing Woo, yes, the Betsy. But they beat me up over here. They don't want me to talk. No, the information, it depends on which venue you use. Like I said before in my other live regarding the trees, there is a free app called familysearch.net. That one I think is run by the government. It's free. And it has just about the same records that ancestry.com and the other ones, 23andMe and all this, have regarding finding information. Once you put a name in on your tree, once you get past like your mother, your parents, or your grandparents, if you're younger, then yeah, your parents and your grandparents might be, your grandparents might be my age, because like my friends are grandparents now. Oh my gosh, I never had kids, so to hear that is like, oh man. But if your parents are younger and your grandparents are younger, like less than 70 or something like that, like I said, I was a late child, so my mom is actually 89 years old, but she has like a great grandchild. Okay, so when you get to these records, these people in that era are generally deceased, unfortunately. So their records are out there. You've got census reports. You've got, back in the day, they used to put your name and address in the phone directory. They have your high school records now. They have so many different records. And for those of you that have the infiltration in your bloodline, we all do, but like you got a heavy infiltration in your bloodline, you can pay a little extra and get records from Europe. I got bamboozled. So let me tell you just here, I did get bamboozled because it said, hey, upgrade, and you can get international records. Well, international records just translates to like Europe. So don't think you're gonna get no records from Africa, no records probably from Asia, no records from India. All you're gonna get is records from Europe. And since the beginning of time, Europeans have been keeping birth and baptismal records. Baptism records. I don't know what I just said, but I be making up stuff and I'm perfectly okay with that. But yeah, so that is actually a waste of money unless you really want to, like at the last minute, yeah, I want to see where these people from. And funny, ironically enough, I come from, on one of the bloodlines, I come from a line of dukes and earls. So don't make me get snooty if I was like claiming them, but you know, it's like, and they probably wouldn't claim me. So, you know, it's like, it's so interesting. I have never really been big on history until I started doing this. And so now I want to know why people are disappearing. I don't, me either, chumps. That's why I said it's totally free and it's run by the government. But hey, Nyla, y'all, welcome. This was a last minute decision. It was requested for me to do this live. And so I'm just mixing it all in together. I'm ending out the family DNA series and just talking about, you know, living here in Africa, why I'm here, and something that maybe I could start doing to try to make some connections with, you know, people. I had actually started a tree for my friend in Ghana. And it was kind of difficult because in Ghana, and I don't know how it works over here, but in Ghana, when you have a son, your son takes your first name as the last name, and then your last name as his first name, and then you give him a name which is end up, like say James Smith has a son. His son would be Smith Taylor. With all actuality, Taylor is supposed to be the first name. It was so confusing. It was really hard, but I managed to get back a few generations on both sides of his family So, you know, if I could just work some trees over and maybe that'll be my calling and get all around and get some records and try to connect people. I know that's what African DNA, one thing I haven't heard about them, I heard people say they've told me where I came from down to the tribe, what is predominantly running through my bloodline. I don't know. Has anybody in here done African DNA? Somebody had did it. I forgot. Maybe they're not in here, but I don't know. Do they connect you, because they're supposedly have tested over 5 million people on the continent, and that's how they can tell you what tribe you came from. This year, Bantu origin, Bantu people are 70% also. Yeah, and that's what they always, you know, but at first I was wondering about that, because at first everybody came from the same region, everybody, but that's not true, because like I said, here in East Africa, the Zanzibar port was a very popular slave port over here. And there's the, they still have the fort up, because someone was telling me, oh, you need to go see this door. Or no, he tried to sell me a painting. It was a painting of a door. And I was like, I've seen that door before. And it's the doors from Zanzibar, and they're still up on the fort. The original fort is still up. And now there's like businesses and stuff in there in some parts of it, because it just kind of zigzags through Stone Town. Very rich in history over here. It's just amazing. So got to learn more about those Bantu people. A lot of people just, you know, migrated from one place to the next. They moved around to where, you know, they would be able to live and be able to eat and raise their cattle and grow some crops. And, you know, because, you know, Africa has a lot of desert area, and just not anything is growing in these areas. So, no, you haven't yet. What, Gary? Ha! This is, see, what did people, they say they're huge in body structure like me. I'm just greedy. I like to eat. But yes, my one of my great grandmothers, she was supposedly, and the problem that I have with this story is that she was supposedly stolen from Sierra Leone. But however, during that time frame, I don't think Sierra Leone existed. I mean, it might have been, I don't think it was, I definitely wasn't called Sierra Leone if it was there. So, you know, that has not showed up in any, I think maybe one, was it, one thing about taking these DNA tests, they give you a raw DNA result, which is a big, huge zip file. And you can upload it to different sites. You can upload it to MyHeritage DNA, to GEDmatch, and they cross-reference you. So if somebody took a 23andMe and you took an ancestry test and you upload it to GEDmatch, you can get, see if you have results from there. So I was asking, anybody take African ancestry, do they give you DNA matches? Or I know they say they do a different kind of testing, so I don't think that that is a part of what they do. Hey, is that Spud? As James Smith as in Spud? What's going on? So yeah, if anybody knows, I have to look that up. So one of the things that the reason why I chose the venue that I did was because I want to know the people that I am related to. My mic is under here somewhere. There it is. I initially got 500 DNA matches, and now I have over 1,000. So now they have this thing on Ancestry called True Lines. And hey, Spud, it's called True Lines. So when you do your tree and you have a DNA match, they can confirm that, yes, this is how you are related to this person. And if you don't have, like, say it's your great grandmother's sister's bloodline. So you got your great great grandmother, and she had these sisters, but you missed a sister somewhere in the hey Golden, in your tree. So you just all you knew was that this is your mother, this is your mother's mother, and this is your mother's mother's mother. And so you didn't know who none of their siblings were. You're getting records, but you hadn't gotten to a record that had the siblings of that great great grandmother. So True Lines comes in and say, hey, we have a suggestion. We think because of this person's tree that this is a sister of your great great grandmother, and this is a descendant of that sister, and this is how y'all related. Now I just accomplished a great feat with a ghost tree and found a parent of a person. Like I found like a father. And so once I did it, and True Lines was making me mad because they were like, oh, once you do this, you got to wait 24 hours. And then when it finally popped up, it was like, yeah, this person is like a great niece, a great grandniece, or whatever they call it, because they don't say like we say. And so it gives you a confirmation that, yeah, this is how this works. So, okay, so they don't do that. African ancestry does not give you DNA matches. So African ancestry is good for finding out what tribe you came from. And the others, they do your DNA and they give you actual family member matches, and they give you, you can work your tree. So most of them will let you work a tree, and it's just an amount of difficulty. So where your records are held, these records are out of Utah. Because I remember I was looking for, there are slave ship manifests. There's a slave ship manifest archive website, because all slave ships that came in, even after the transatlantic slave trade was abolished, and I'm not talking about slavery, I'm just talking about the method of stealing people from Africa and transporting them was outlawed in like 1804, 1805, but we all know that ships still were coming. As a matter of fact, if you know the history of the Cotilla, it's they just found the parts of that supposed shipwreck in the Mobile Bay, excuse me, in Mobile, Alabama. This was supposed to be one of the last ships that came in, and that ship came here based on a bet for some wealthy plantation owners, where they said, Bub, I bet you I can bring a whole ship full of stolen goods from Africa and it's gonna get in here. Okay, so I'm not really sure because I don't go that far. My region is Cameroon, Congo, but I'll get to that in a second. So they have this bet that they can get a whole ship full of cargo. When I say cargo, I mean stolen humans from Africa, and bring it in because they had money. And the other was like, you ain't gonna make it because it's illegal. And the ship actually made it. And what happened was they would go to the Caribbean first, and then they would come in to the United States, sneak in at night and get some rowboats or something and offload the ship, and then take these people up on shore via these rowboats. So now you don't even know what came in. You don't know who came in. But lately, I have been finding slave manifests for family members, like my third great grandparents, when they were put on a ship from Virginia and sold into Mississippi. They left from Virginia and they had to come into the port of New Orleans because all ships had to register in New Orleans. So there's like 4 copies of these slave ship manifests, and one of them, I was shocked when I lived in New Orleans. Why is the slave manifest here? Because everybody had to register with the office, whatever, that was in New Orleans. All ships that came into the United States had to register via New Orleans. And then, of course, there's a copy in Washington, D.C., and I think Utah or Colorado, and then California. It was some weird places where these records are kept. And I'm like, I was shocked. I'm like, no New York, no, whatever, but no. So, yes, the first line to finding out where you're from is to just get started working on some form of a tree. And like I said, the benefits of doing one from an online platform is because they have the records, the digital records. Back in the day, you used to have to go to the library and look up these microfiche film. Well, they got all that stuff scanned in and access to these records. Most of these platforms have access to them, and you have access to them as well. So you want to get the creeps, put your people in there, and then find a census report from 1860, 1870. Most did not start using our names until 1870, but there are a couple from 1850, 1860, if you come from a bloodline that was free. There's some of us that was free Negroes in the US, and so your names are on the census reports prior to 1870. Yeah. So with that, 41 minutes. Anybody have any questions? Because I'm gonna cut this one short today. I'm not going to long wind y'all today. So any questions that you have about your family trees, your DNA, and get into the continent. And where's the person that told me to do this live? I don't even know if that's what he wanted to talk about, but since he did not give me a subject, that's what I was talking about. And for those of you, if you just now, this is your first time in one of my lives, welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button, and comment and share. Tell a person, tell a friend to tell a friend. It is 5:45 in the morning here, so very easy to trace your origin if they did not change your surnames. They changed the whole name, not just your surname. They took when I don't know how familiar you are with it, but once you got on those slave ships and those ships made it to the Caribbean or to South America or to the United States, wherever it came, you were stripped of everything that you know, and 9 times out of 10, you were separated from anybody that could speak your native tongue because they didn't want you to be able to communicate with those people and possibly come together and start an uprising and whoop their tails and take over their ship and go back home. So they separated the people. And then when you got over there and you said, my name is Mpongo, they beat the crap out of you until you told them, oh, my name is Jim. They gave you these names. And then, so one thing that I, had a problem with when I went to Ghana is, oh, my name is, something long and drawn out. But my other name is Tom. They want to make it easy for people to be able to pronounce their names. Make them struggle. Make them struggle until they get it right. Like I tell people, my name is Kimberly. Oh, Kim. Nope. You don't know me. My name is Kimberly. You will not shorten my name and give me a nickname. It doesn't work like that. And so unless you some kin to me and close to me, you're not calling me Kim. My name is Kimberly. Because that's something that they have a bad habit with doing. When they say, oh, well, what's your name? And I tell them, and then they say, oh, well, Kim. No, that's not what I said to you. Honey, I don't even play those games. And my mama is 89, and she'll tell you that's what I named her. And she'll give you that look that'll make you freeze in your tracks. She gave me this so slave. Now, that's what you want to call something slave. She gave me this slave name. Now, you don't get to shorten it. You stripped us of our identity, and then we get named by our parents, and then you want to shorten it. Oh, my name is James Smith. Oh, well, Jim. No. That's not what I said. I said my name is James Smith. and it's just these certain, it's a habit. Break that habit. Break that habit. Gary, did you have something that you wanted to, yes, African countries, they've renamed them, they've renamed Africa. So, I mean, they do what they want to do. We were a continent with no borders, and that's why we're in Pongo. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, because that's one thing that I am trying to break the habit of, is mispronouncing stuff, because the United States is one of the only countries that pronounce their letters like they do. And I tutor, so I know that it's hard for people to pronounce stuff, to speak English, because we don't pronounce stuff the way other people do. Even in London and stuff, I is pronounced like a long E. Absolutely, Golden, absolutely. So that's one of the things that I'm doing over here. I'm trying to teach somebody this, and I'm trying to learn this one. So it's choo, choo, choo. But one thing, I think my brain is starting to work a little better. Keep them juices flowing, learn something, grab a language, grab a tongue, and try to learn it. And because them gears get to shifting, because I was getting to I was forgetting everything, and I was just having a hard time. But I guess since I have been in kind of teacher mode, I'm exercising my brain. Now I just need to exercise the physical body, and we're going to be into something. I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with. Maybe I'll go back to school. No. Yeah, so am I going to change my name? Am I? I might. It might get changed. It's a thought. And then a lot of times, here, there's a lot of Muslim names here. So, that's that Arabic influence, because in this particular country, Zanzibar and Tanzania, they had a high, I think not the first people to, Portuguese and Arabic were the first infiltration here, I believe. So that's why a lot of stuff in Zanzibar has this Arabic type architectural design to it. I don't think so much for the mainland, but I know Zanzibar for sure. Yes, Kenya speaks Swahili. It's kind of the same. It's pretty much the same. And there's one more. I don't know if it's Uganda or I think they speak a little bit of Swahili in Rwanda, but they have 2 or 3 languages that they speak there. And so a lot of people here do not speak English. And so I'm trying to learn language because, I'm grateful that you can speak English, but when in Rome, do as the Romans. Sakela from Nayaki. What is that? Okay, work with me in I'm gonna work on that one. Tribe in Mbeya. Is that up by Dodoma? That Mbeya. This is the hard time. This is what I have a hard time with, y'all. Putting them M's and B's together. Yes, but I love it. I love it. Sekela. Come on, get on this screen and pronounce it. My last live, I invited a few people up on the screen to actually talk and give some information or just introduce themselves. It was cocktails and conversation. It was really good. And so I do plan on having more of those events, but for this one, I just want to really just close this DNA series out. And since I'm running out of content to give y'all every week, it may just be a live every week to discuss what is going on, because y'all, where's my phone? Look at my phone, y'all. I think they said these S9 have a history where the battery swells up. So my phone is separating. And unfortunately, my new phone I can't use. I have a brand new phone and I can't use it. I hate T-Mobile. I hate you. I hate you. So that's another thing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, hold on. I may just get rid of the cell phone altogether and just go get a modem. Oh, I pronounced it correctly. Thank you. On the way to, okay. I thought that's where I saw it. Now I've been to Arusha. Now, oh, excuse me. I'm supposed to go back to Kenya next month, towards the end of next month. And Kenya just reclosed their border in like 5 counties. And one was the place that I want to go. So, yeah, what is really going on? So they said in those 5 counties, they had a spike in the number of cases. So they closed the border. Those people are on lockdown again. Not the whole country, just in those certain 5 counties. And I think Nairobi was included in one of those. I don't know what Mombasa County is, but I don't know. But yeah. So that is that. Any questions? Sekela. Okay, you're gonna have me changing my name. Sekela. I like that. I do like that. And now that I'm saying, I'm gonna go to Mbia and be like, "Hey, fam," and they be like, "What? Who are you?" Yes, yes, yes. I like that. Show that. We're gonna put that in the banner. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Spud, I'm gonna get with you on that phone number thing because I have a local phone number now, so that's why you probably can't get through. Yes, yes, I like that too, Nikita. Now, see, I know sometimes in Ghana, that was one of the things that they were doing. They were giving people names and doing naming ceremonies. And I did want to participate with that, but I never did get to that area where they were doing, because they weren't doing them just any and everywhere. But yeah, and I see that a lot of people sometimes here, what people will change their name and then they'll take on an Islamic name or a Muslim name. And yes, I keep my hair covered. I'm not Muslim. But I do respect, and I think why I respect Muslims so much is because of the mistreatment. It's like black people. They say, oh, all black people are thugs. And all Muslims are terrorists or bad people, and they're not. Y'all got some Christians that I'm looking at y'all sideways like, shit, y'all the damn terrorists. Real simple. So and so when I asked a few young ladies, when I got to Zanzibar and they were just walking, that beach breeze, and their dresses were just bellowing in the wind, and they covered up with their matching congas. And I was like, can I wear that too? Because I already had my head wraps on. I stayed have a head wrap on. And they were like, you want to wear that? Yes, it's beautiful. And I'm what? And they were like, they were surprised because I guess they felt like nobody wants to wear what they were wearing. And I don't know why, because one is flowy and it's cool, but two, I mean, it's cute. I had a little kid ask me, why are you wearing that? So weird. I'm like, badass actor. Don't I look cute? I had my bling across the front. I was like, what? Everybody is glistening and shimmering in the sunlight here, and it's a beautiful thing. Evangelicals, yes, they evil demons. That's what they are. Their hands should fall off by grabbing a Bible. Their hands should just fall off because they are so full of hell, and it's just ridiculous. Even and some, I was raised up in the church, so I know how it works. I know how it operates, and with everything, it's cliques and it's people snubbing other people for various reasons. And once you get up to age and you realize that, okay, I don't need to go to that building. If the more I go to that building, the more I'm probably doomed for this fictitious hell that y'all keep telling me about. I don't need to go there. So that's to each their own. Do it how you doing. I'm seeing a lot, and maybe it's because I watched one of the videos. And so, YouTube, once you watch something, they keep suggesting, the same thing over and over and over. So I watched this video where now they're calling it New Age. It's no longer spirituality. It's New Age religion or something that they're calling it now. And so all these New Age people are returning back to Jesus Christ, as they say. Not I'm not saying that's what they're saying. And I was like, well, when did it become New Age? Because last time I checked with African spirituality and the original churches in Ethiopia and the original Bible found at the base of Mount Sinai, what is y'all talking about? Yenemi is supposed to mean only God knows. That's from northern Ghana, Bogatanga. And so I liked it and I just ran with it. I kept it. So yeah, that's the significance. Only God knows. However, I could find nothing to confirm that, but I'm going to take it at face value. But a lot of times, if you look up certain dialect, you won't find it in Google because they just, I keep telling you regularly that they don't give a care about you or your culture. It has always been there. So where these people are calling it New Age, I don't know. And I'm starting to see it a lot. And so I think a lot of people are just lost and they don't know which way to go. And they still have that westernized fear in them that if they don't do this, they're going to burn in hell. But as my understanding stands, in the most African dialect, okay, so that's my new name, y'all, Sekela. As it stands, there was no hell and devil. Certain words that we use were not in most African dialects. And they didn't believe that if you were a bad person, you would die, you're going to hell. When you die, you just go to the next realm and you become an ancestor. And if you check facts and just look at the real big picture, when these people telling you about angels, up until, Black people want to be separate, but they want to be the same. So up until that movement, you tell me when you saw a Black angel. When is the last time you saw a Black angel? Except at Christmas time but right up there next to Black Santa Claus. If you look in any books that's talking about angels and all this stuff, they ain't Black. So who they watching over? They ain't watching over me. But we have always had ancestors, and you were protected by your ancestors. But I ain't here to talk on that either. I'll give you a little bit of dabble of this and a little bit of dabble of that. Y'all got 2 minutes, and I'm getting offline. I got a new name. Compliments of Mpango Kwao. Help me out here. Work with me. Of joy. Sekela means of joy. Okay, let me put that one there. I'm liking that because I'm a joyous person. And I'm on the continent. I'm in Tanzania, and I don't have a care in the world. I'm broke as a joke, y'all. I'm gonna stop saying that. Out of your mouth manifest. I'm rich. I'm filthy rich, and I'm surviving. So, I'm loving it here. Yes, people like you so calm and you this. Literally, when I was in the States, I was a truck driver and I was on the road, and that's stressful enough in itself. And I just noticed that people start doing little dirty little stuff. Like I was on the phone with this one over here, and he was trying to pass somebody up. And they literally, you'll have a white truck driver or a Mexican truck driver look you in the face and say, I'm only can assume what they're looking at. One, for me, that, oh, she black, and two, she's a woman. She's not finna pass me up. And they would literally speed up so that you couldn't pass them up, and then they'll leave you stuck out in the left lane. And you have a choice to either hit your brakes and get behind them, and some of them would slow down and just keep you out in the left lane. So it got to the point where some of those people found themselves on the shoulder, because you're not going to play with me. And so my anger was boiling over to the point that I was about to go to jail. And I knew that I had to get out of that crazy ass country. I always wanted to leave it, but I knew I had to get out of there. So when people come and say, you know, you're just so different, and why are you letting that slide? Because I don't have a care in the world. I'm on the continent. One, two, I'm not driving a truck anymore. I'm not driving nothing because I'm scared to drive over here because it's backwards for me, according to the way I know how to drive. So I sit back and I chill. I chill and I just go with the flow. And for the most part, everybody over here is really, really nice, you know, and everybody looks like me. Might be a little darker, but everybody looks like me. And I'm looking at myself in this camera, and I need to go sit at somebody's beach. Yes. So, you know, if you're coming, come on. Don't listen to the conversation earlier was that, oh, hey, you know, this person is anti-Africa. There's so many people that are anti-Africa until they find out what it's all about. There's a reason why people don't want you to like Africa. People don't want Africa to like you, because once we come together, baby, it may take the next 400 years, but once we come together as a whole, we're gonna be back in our rightful position, and that's where we're supposed to be. This is too large, too huge. It's to the point that they even have shrunk the size of the continent to make themselves feel better. You can sit every other continent on the continent of Africa. Africa is huge. It is humongous. You know, it's so much. When I went to Arusha on the Lampoon bus, 13 and a half hours. And it's not like, you know, that gray dog stop. You got 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. I was literally wondering how those people was getting on the bus, because it looked like they would stop. I would see them throw something under the bus, and then the bus would be pulling off. And I'm like, where's the person? And then all of a sudden, we already driving. You would see the head pop up the stairs and get on the bus. Dang, did they have to run and jump while it was moving? So, you know, it was 13 and a half hours to Arusha, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So I was kind of digging the mountains, you know. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I was feeling the mountains over in that area. It was a nice breeze. So I'm torn between, do I want mountains or do I want the beach? Because it is just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. Ain't no stopping us. And trust and believe the process. I don't know, you know, how you can make people understand that, you know, we are a strong force. If we wasn't, they wouldn't be so hell-bent on destroying us. And that is exactly what they are trying to do, is destroy us. Would I ever move to Arusha? I go to say the beach. I don't know. You know, in the US, I have a history of being a gypsy, but I think that's only because my spirit was unhappy. And I was going from place to place. And my spirit, no, it needed some heat. That's all it did. No, I had to get out of the north and come to the southern states. And then, it started being cold in the southern states. My one friend told me, could you stop moving? You bringing hurricanes and cold weather with you. Uh-uh. But I absolutely love hot weather. Yes, I love the beach too, but y'all gotta, when y'all get here and you gonna be at the beach. We gonna be at the beach is here in Dar es Salaam. It's beach. It's Dar es Salaam is the port for it's set for Tanzania and the 6 countries that surround it. This is a major hub, and it is not like the Houston port where it's all nasty and yucky because we got all them refineries out in the water leaking crude oil and all that stuff. These beaches are beautiful. Know that, see that, and then get on that bus and go over to Arusha, Dodoma, Kilimanjaro. It's beautiful. Y'all. I thought that I loved the mountains in Montana and Utah and Idaho because that's like 8,000 feet elevation above the sea level. And most of them are rocks, looks like, red, some kind of stone. But the mountains here, they got some rocks, but they are just lush and green. It looks like just green carpet. And I'm like, wow. So when I go back to Kenya next month, hopefully they'll, open those borders back up. My friend is supposed to take me walking up this little mountain in Namanga. I don't know the name of it. I got to find the African name of it, but it translates to Black's Hill. And he said there's like a little waterfall and stuff up there. It's nowhere near as tall as Kilimanjaro, but I'm like, okay. But he's injured. He's on the injured reserve. And I told him, don't try to get out of walking up that mountain because I want to go. It's just different. I could take any one of these terrains in Africa. In this country, in Tanzania, we got everything. We got the beach. You got the Serengeti, which is, the wide open safari, which is kind of, what would you call that? Not desert. It's not total desert because they do got a little bit of foliage growing. But, that's where the wildlife and stuff is. And then you've got almost like a rainforest in these national parks. And you got mountains. You've got it all. You got everything but some snow. Yeah. So take your pick. What do you want to see in this country? They got it all. It's just amazing. It's totally amazing. Yeah, you're from Long Island. I'm from Michigan originally. And so I don't think anywhere north of now Nikita and I, we go back way back. So most of the places that we've been is on a beach. So when we weren't in California together, but we were in North Carolina together. And so to me, the beaches didn't get really cute until Wrightsville Beach, which is down by Wilmington, North Carolina. I need to be able to see. If I step in the water, you're going to kick up some sand. But once I stand still and that sand settle, I need to be able to see my feet when I get into the water. So yeah, all of that, East Coast, Florida, the Florida Keys. Before I left in last July, I went to Key Largo. The water is beautiful. The dolphins were jumping and all that, But even compared to here, like the water in the Florida Keys was it was clear, you could see through, but it was more like a dark blue. The water over here is like a light blue, like it's just like bright and light, turquoise even, similar to maybe the Bahamas or something. It's clear. You can see to the bottom and you're thinking like, this ain't very deep, but you're looking down like 20, 25 feet, or as they say meters, and I think which is even more, but it looks like it's not that deep. It's just so clear that you're seeing down to the bottom. So yes, I know, beach, because I got a whole suitcase full. I need to get it together, and I'm thinking that's what I need in my life. But I think we're entering the rainy season, or so I was told. We're entering the rainy season. It's about to be on and popping, and I'm going to see how that works, because during the rainy season, I think it gets kind of bad over here, like flood wise. And I kind of live down a hill. And I asked homeboy, I was like, "Are we going to get washed away? You let me know." Yeah, they harvest, and Zanzibar, they harvest sea moss, because what I learned here is the tide around most of Zanzibar, the tide goes out. The tide is low they said every 2 weeks, but it looked to me like it was kind of every other week. And then there's one beach on the northwest end where the tide is always in. It doesn't go in and out. But all the rest of the beaches around Zanzibar, the tide goes in and out. Now here on the mainland, I'm not really sure how it works, but I know the beaches down the street from me and just, past me, the tides are rough here. And a lot of them have big old boulders and stuff. But once you get towards city center for Dar es Salaam, it starts looking more like Zanzibar-ish over there. The water gets clean and clear, and no big rocks on the beach and stuff. And unfortunately, you got to go through the resort to get to the beach on the mainland. Whereas when I was in Zanzibar, I just walked, just walk down and go through and go to the beach. So, yeah, they harvest sea salt and sea moss here. Yes, I do. Because now I'm like, I don't really care. So if it's like late in the evening or whatever, you're bound to see me with my satin bonnet and my house coat on, because I just ain't getting dressed to go downstairs to do whatever. So it's coming along, but I don't think that it's as done as it's going to get for right now. So yeah, once I did get a little bit of those mountains in my blood, we up in the air for that. We'll see what happens. I can actually be anywhere in this country, or probably the next. I really want to see the rest of them. So we're surrounded by Mozambique, Malawi. I don't know which is next, Zimbabwe or Uganda. There's a lake or river, and on the other side of that lake body of water is the Congo. Then I think you get over here to Zimbabwe or something, Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya. I don't know. I said I was going to, when I was in high school so many years ago, we had this one teacher, and you had her for government, which was required to graduate. And I had her twice. I had her for a history class, but each one of those classes, she made you memorize the map. You started off with like the United States, and for the final, it was a world map, and you put on as many countries as you can on this map. And I never could get this one girl, she would always come in first. She would have so much information, and I would always come in second or third. I just could not commit to memory all of these dang-gone countries. So you got Burundi. Okay, so Rwanda, Burundi. Burundi is south of Rwanda, right? Is it Zambia, Burundi, Rwanda? I'm trying to remember. And I got a little cheat sheet over here. I'm just so scared to move my phone. I don't want it to disconnect me. My phone is on its last leg. Poor thing. Are you ready to give us a tour of your cute house? Not even. Is it raining? I'm having some issues right now with dust. So it's like the dust bunnies are growing. And so it was funny. Literally today, I swept the floor and I turned around, I walked to the other side of the bed, and when I came back, the dust had blown back under the door because I have really big gaps under my door. Hey, Thomas, welcome. And they're working on a new apartment. So instead of there being 3 apartments in the building next to me, it's going to be 4. And everything here, you're not going to find no wooden frames over here. Everything here is made with cement and cinder blocks. So while they over there busting up stuff, you know, I don't look so bad today, but the other day my eyes was swollen so big, like somebody had punched me in my sleep. And I haven't had that since I was a kid when I had hay fever. And I was in bad shape. I had a headache, the whole 9 yards. And so once they get finished and I can clean and get these, try to get a hold on this dust, and just, it's crazy. Yeah, then I'll give you a tour. I got to mop floors and all that stuff. As someone said, you need a house, girl. No, I just need to stop being lazy and go clean that crap up. My dang on self. So, yeah. Okay, so, and Pongo, I need you to put it in order. Am I asking too much? Put it in order. Okay, start at Mozambique. So you got Mozambique, Malawi. Then is it Burundi, Uganda, Rwanda? Where's my map? Lord, don't let it disconnect me. My little fragile phone. Screenshot. Where's it a download? Because I have to know things. Okay, let's see here. Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, the Republic, what is that? The Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda. I'm missing something. That's not a good map. Here's a good one. Okay, Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia. That's that little edge in there. Then the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and Kenya. Okay, I'm missing some. Where's Zimbabwe? Oh, there it is right there, Mozambique. Okay, so Zimbabwe doesn't touch, just Malawi. Okay. Okay, see, get back up there. I didn't tell you to do that. How come it's just giving you a white screen? Okay. Africa. Yeah, Zimbabwe, I thought it's Zambia, one of them Z's. Yes. So I want to hit all of those, you know, and quite honestly, for the most part, like Nikita has a little more insight than most people, but for the average Joe Schmo, most people are, I felt like we're running to West Africa because West Africa is really on the advocate to come to us, come and see us, come live here, come be here, come help us. And so a lot of people know about those countries, Ghana, Gambia, Senegal, and they don't really know about East Africa. Because even the people in the Middle East, when I say I'm in East Africa, they're like, what? But they've heard of Kenya. Most everybody has heard of Kenya. But they don't, you know, most people don't know about these countries in Africa. What, 54 countries? And there's certain places that they go to, that's a part of Africa. Egypt, Morocco, you in Africa. So yes, contrary to popular belief. So a lot of this stuff down here, like I just found out about Namibia maybe a year or two ago, and then I should leave West Africa and West facts, but you ain't heard it from me. You ain't heard it from me. We all try to be peace and love, but yeah, they over there on the west side, you know, and I'm generally on the west side, but I'm rolling on the east side of Africa right now. So I would like to go to Namibia. I want to just, you know what? One day the creator is going to say it's time, and I'm going to hit all these countries. What is her name? African Tigress? I think she's from Kenya. And she started off, and I don't know if she's been blocked because people are starting to shut back down, but she said 21 countries in 21 days or something like that. And she is just going from place to place to place. That's what's up. And she's asking, and unfortunately, she went somewhere, Nigeria, I want to say, and she was asking them if they heard of Kenya. And most of them was like, no. And the ones that did, they were like, what? She said, what do you know about Kenya? And they said, oh, that they can run. Yeah, they can run, but come on, for real? And they didn't know where Kenya was. Oh, she's traveling with somebody. Every time I see her, it looks like she's by herself. But yeah, so maybe we can just do history lessons so people can get familiar with the continent, and maybe they'll get excited and just want to pick a country and come to, yeah, right here on the continent. They don't know, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's my job, is to let people know it's 54 countries over here. You need to know about every last one of them. So, you know, except for the ones that are always in the news, you know, doing stuff and trying to be independent for sure. You just don't hear about it. Like, I didn't never really hear about Gabon until Gabon started giving out citizenship to people whose DNA was coming back saying they was from Gabon. So I'm like, how can I be down? I want a Gabon passport. I want a passport other than the one I got. So yeah, a lot of people, you know, and it's funny because I was pronouncing Tanzania because I guess I was getting confused with Tanzania. So today I was talking to one of my students, and I said Tanzania, and he said Tanzania. I was like, okay, tomato, have at it, because I don't have a clue, because some people say Tanzania and some people say Tanzania. I don't know. I live here. I don't know. Yeah, Ludacris, Samuel Jackson, and somebody else. And then Michael Jai White, they entombed him as a chief in a one of those little tribes or villages in Ghana. But I guess that ain't a big deal because now they're giving them to Chinese people and everything. Ghana, shame on you. But yeah, it's so much here. I'm telling you, it's rich. It is rich here in history, culture, and everything. Okay, thank you. Both ways, because some days I'm like, did I say it right? And it's bad to be in some place and you just don't even know how to say it because it's confusing. I want to say it how the local people say it. I don't want to say how Westerners say it, you know, because it used to be Tanganyika. And so the name Tanzania comes from a merging of Tanganyika and Zanzibar, and it became Tanzania. Yeah, let me write that in the thing here. The history. Wow, Wikipedia wasted no time putting the new president's name in there. Wow. I'm feeling some kind of way about that. I hope she does a really good job, though. I really do. They say she faces a tough to-do list. It won't be tough if you don't try to come in and undo everything, but you ain't heard it from me. Yes. Okay, so according to this, Swahili is an Arab African mix. I didn't know that either. But if you listen to it, it does kind of sound Arabic when they are speaking really, really fast. Zanzibar, some sort of, okay, pronounce it like you want to say Zanzibar. Yeah, thank you, Golden, because I didn't know how to spell that. Tanganyika, Tanganyika, Tanganyika. It's rough over in these parts. I just started calling Carriacou. I just stopped calling it Carriacou because OO in the US is ooh and not O. We wrong over there. we don't even speak English like they speak English in the UK. Because if you know the history, you know that we were started by, we weren't started, we were reconstructed by the misfits of Great Britain. These were the peasants of Great Britain that started the United States. So we don't even speak English correctly like they speak it. We have our own little language. Zanzibar. So Tanzania. Tanzania. Yes. So it's funny because people look at you like it's not our language, player. That's what I said. I read a thing that was so powerful, and it was like, you talk about the way we speak as a people, but that English is not our language. English is not our native tongue. So this was something you talking about, all these people that came over here and they spoke a different dialects and tongues, and they had to learn English and learn it from people that didn't speak it correctly in the first place. So people say that Black people speak slang and speak this and that and the other. You have to hear a true Southern white person speak, and then you will know why we butcher the English language, because we didn't have very good teachers to teach us in the first place, south of that Mason-Dixon line. And that's facts right there. And still to this day, you damn near need a translator to talk to some older Southern white people, because you don't know what they're saying. My mom is from Memphis, Tennessee, and she always used to say she thought that Black and Decker was Block and Ducker. Block, and because they called it Block and not Black. Carry a call. And Pongo, I need you to just come over here and just teach me the language. Quit playing. I try to sit out with the people and learn, but they talk so fast, I can't get it. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Carry a call. Carry a call. And what does carry a call actually mean? Does that mean something? And that's another thing, like with Swahili, where we'll say a whole sentence. They'll say like one word, one big word. Right. And I never know how to pronounce that. Because what is carousel? Wasn't there a caraco or something? Am I confusing that with something? My email is on my, it's in my about, and it's in most of my video description. Gmail, my Gmail account. If you're on a laptop, you can just click on my banner for my page, and it's on there as well. Yes, that would be awesome. And teach me the history so that I can teach people the history. We're gonna collaborate and teach, each one teach one. We're gonna teach some stuff because people don't know, and it's sad when you're on the continent and they don't know. It's almost excusable if you're in the diaspora and you don't know, because I know for a fact the schools that I went to, and during February Black History Month, we only learned about the same old usual suspects, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and I don't even know if they really dwelled on Malcolm X or not, because I didn't learn about Marcus Garvey till later on in life. So I didn't go to one of those. My neighborhood where I was born and raised was 70% white, and they sure ain't taught us diddly squat. I didn't go to Martin Luther King Elementary School across the street, where they should have got more information than I did, because simply due to the name of their school. It used to be Grant Elementary, and they changed it to Martin Luther King Elementary School. And that was the neighborhood school. But I found out later on that reason why, even in my Black history course in high school, why you didn't learn certain stuff is because you have to follow the curriculum. And who controls the curriculum? Yep, this girl, it's 6:30. The sun come up at about 6, so it's a little late. So it very well may be another rainy day. Not sure. But the saving grace is I went to bed last night and I woke up early just to do the live. So it was all good, because the person that requested is actually in a central time zone, and he still didn't tell me what he wanted to talk about. So I don't know if he just wanted to come in and see my face or what, because he's on a journey of his own. He has lost a lot of weight, and I want to know about that as well. Right. They have an MLK Drive and the Rosa Parks and the Malcolm X, and they usually in the hood. As a truck driver, I saw one place that it was it MLK or Rosa Parks or something, and it was actually not a Black neighborhood. Yeah, I had Mr. Parham, but okay, so Thomas, you already know, sorry for that. I didn't really go to class a lot. But I had him for African studies or whatever the class that he gave, but I still don't remember most of the stuff that I know about Black history. I've been learning in the past maybe 5 years or so. I've been teaching myself, because it's just stuff that they don't teach because it's not on the curriculum. Mr. Parham used to come to our house. Okay, you got it? Okay, it's just a name. Right, and in the same books, like in the state of Texas, they passed that they were removing the word slave from the textbooks and calling these people indentured servants. So with that, you're removing the history in itself. So Thomas, I remember doing book reports in Mr. Parham's class, and then I don't remember anything sticking out. I don't remember the Sankovas and the Lumumbas and all that stuff. And these are people, African, Patrice Lumumba was assassinated when? Early on, this is like the 60s, 70s, somewhere around. These people that were heavy hitters, I never heard of these people until I started researching stuff. You know, this is the 80s, so yeah, I'm old. The 80s, when we was in school, these people have passed through the realm, and we should have learned about them. We should have learned about red, black, and green. We should have learned about different things. Like, why are these people saying they're this? These people saying they Moors. These people saying this, and then these people are saying that. Why, tell us about, because that's considered controversial, and you won't ever learn that in school unless you in a black on black school. And I don't even know if they taught that in Detroit public schools. I know Chicago, people from Chicago should be in here schooling me, because they was learning stuff like since elementary school. They got the knowledge. New Yorkers, y'all learned about all this stuff. We did not, that I know of. And like I said, we had one teacher, as you can see, my homeboy just asked, did you have him for a teacher? And he was the only one. And I remember my parents saying that he was a radical, because he didn't really wear dashikis. He had an afro, but then it was considered to be, you were a rebel if you were trying to teach some Black history. You see? I know, because I got family in Chicago, and I know people from Chicago, and that's where the Honorable, what's his name? Noble Drew was from Chicago. Noble Drew, the more scientific temple. I know some stuff now. Y'all better watch out. Right, we learned about Christopher Columbus too, and the Pilgrims. We did plays every freaking year about the Pilgrims, and that's what somebody on a video, I can't remember whose video I was watching, but the teacher was telling the kids that when Christopher Columbus or whatever came to the Americas and came in contact with the natives, that there was a language barrier, and the natives was happy to see Christopher Columbus, and they was excited, and they was welcoming them, and Christopher Columbus and them got afraid because they didn't understand the language, and they thought that they were being aggressive, so they killed all these people, and then later found out that, they were actually welcoming them, and they just didn't understand the language, and they felt bad. And I was like, what? The teacher said, what? You can't make this stuff up. These people in their mind, and they warped little minds, really don't think they've done nothing wrong in this world. So, and they still ain't trying to teach us nothing. If you're aware, Mount Clemens High School went from class A to like triple D or something, because everybody snatched their kids out of that school system, and it's all but shut down. They shut down most of the schools. Like, I didn't even understand the logic. You tore down Martin Luther King Elementary School, you rebuild a brand new building, and then you shut it down. Now it's a daycare center or something. I don't even understand what people, and y'all study taxing the snot out of people that live in that neighborhood. Girl, Golden, okay, as you can see, I'm from the suburbs of Detroit. Better not put on the dashiki. And that ain't from the white people. That was from our parents. Like, my dad actually marched with Martin Luther King when he came to Detroit. His picture was in the newspaper. He was right there next to him. But they still felt some kind of way about being taught Black history and African history in the school system. So, it's kind of like hypocritical, and my dad was one of the most he was a bad actor. My daddy was a bad actor, but, growing up and stuff, but he stood for what was right. But if you kind of look at it, you have to call it like you see it with your parents. Like, some people are lucky enough, like there's a girl on here, Queen Poe. I like to listen to her. This sister, young sister, she's very knowledgeable in African spirituality and all sorts of stuff. Well, she said she was raised up in a pro-Black household where this is how they taught her. And they say, train a child up the way you want it to go. So she said when people came over, her friends came over, they were actually afraid to come visit because they had their altars set up in the house. and that's just something that that didn't go down in ours because we was over there worshiping white Jesus. And unfortunately, my daddy was a Baptist deacon, and you didn't question religion. You didn't have nothing to say like, oh, well, why is Jesus white, or why is this? Because I remember seeing pictures of a white person, and I was like, well, I thought it said no graven images and no this and that. What y'all doing with these white people up on the thing? And my dad's like, oh, don't blaspheme. Don't, you couldn't even really say, unless you were saying, thank you, Jesus, or hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. You was blaspheming. You was this and that and the other. But that is because of the lack of knowledge that, my parents migrated from the South up to the North. High school education at best. I don't think my mom graduated high school. So they from the school of hard knocks. But one thing you didn't do, you didn't disrespect. I don't remember my grandma ever going to church. So, but you didn't disrespect it. You couldn't ask no questions. You couldn't come up against it to say, why is this what we practicing? What, yes, they gave them smallpox and all this stuff, but this story that this lady was saying that this is what the teacher, I think she heard it because of the whatever they're doing now on lockdown. And so she was like, what is this person saying? And it was funny to me because, is that your story and you sticking to it? That's kind of like, who was I just talking to about the missionary that went over to the island and they lit his ass up with them arrows? Oh, Jesus loves you and so do I. And they done told you, don't go over there messing with them people. You exposing them to disease and that they haven't been exposed to, but you're going to take your lily ass over there anyway, and they lit your ass up with them arrows and took your body and wouldn't give it back to your family. You're going to learn today. So, yeah. Okay, Nikita, I don't even know. Because I know you went to them Lily schools too. I'm wondering if they touched on slavery. They must have touched on it so fast because I don't even remember. I know that slavery existed, but I did not. They didn't really elaborate on it. They touched on it in February, and then you moved on. And then they definitely didn't say, oh, this person, this president, and this person, that they was these Confederate ass generals. Racists didn't want slavery to end. So, you thought that these people were icons. And then you go down south and you go to Jefferson Davidson High School, and you go to, Robert E. Lee Academy. What? What is really going on? So, yes, we deserve to learn our history in Pongo, but unfortunately, like I said, it's not a big part of the curriculum in today's school systems, unless you are in a special type of academy, or what do they call those other schools? They not private schools, charter. Unless you're in some kind of charter school or special, private academy or something, 9 times out of 10, these people, like I said, Texas had voted to remove the word slave from the textbooks and use indentured servant. What's next after indentured servant? So then a little while longer, the state of Texas won't even be learning about slavery. And they're the very people that didn't get the word that slavery had been abolished until 2 years afterwards. Yes. Exactly, chump. Stay in your place, stay oppressed, and you won't know, because where I come from, my little town, the guys, they absolutely love white girls. My nephews, people, that is their thing. They love these white girls, and all these have been, and still today, all these white girls have to do is say, oh, he raped me or he hit me. And you're not going to get no type of fair trial. You can just bank on, pack your stuff up because you're going to go to jail. They infiltrate you, and then they ruin your life. They have gotten you to the point, people talk about brothers, they this and that, but I watched as these white girls come into the neighborhood, and then all of a sudden you see the brothers, they ain't got no job, but they ride around in these nice cars because Becky done went to work, and now you driving her car all day long, and then you done put it on her so good, you take her home, or you sit her somewhere and you riding around all day long in her vehicle. So this is becoming a trend, and now you expect us to do the same thing. Well, guess what? It ain't going down, brother. It ain't going down. We need to get our Black family structure back to the way it was when during slavery time. They didn't even allow us to get married, didn't recognize our marriages. And if you had a child and you had a man, they sold y'all off in separate directions. That's why I say you have to know your history, and maybe you'll stop doing some of the stupid shit that you're doing in this day and age, talking about peace and love and all this shit. Get over it. I can't get over it. I can't, because I stay reading books that keep my blood boiling to the fact that do not smile in my face, because I am not your bed wench. Too many of my great-great-grandmothers was your bed wench. I am not your bed wench. So unless a man is blue, black, purple, I don't even want you to say nothing to me. Okay? Not at all. Okay, let me get up off of that tangent, because that one will get me going. And this, if y'all got younger kids, if y'all younger and y'all in here, I know most of the people that's in here is my age, but if it is one or two younger people that's up in here and y'all got some younger kids, y'all better teach them kids, because they ain't gonna learn it in school. If you can't read, you holler at me and let me know, because I have a history of teaching illiterate adults how to read as well. But you need to know your history. I stay telling people, pick this book up and read it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And that's what I started off with, and I'll probably end it on this book, Jubilee. This book, I wish I had the picture. I can't multitask right here because I don't want my phone to conk out at the last minute. But let me put it over here in the banner. This book was written, like I said, I think in the late 40s, early 50s. And it takes you on a journey. Margaret Walker. Start somewhere, because once you read one, you're really going to want to know more. And like I said, some of these books, they're classified under novel because they, show. There we go. They're classified under novel because people had to add some stuff to the timeline to make it into a full book. Most of it is handed down, and they explain to you that this was based on the life of one of my great-grandparents. And they have the pictures of the people. And it's another one called Cane River and Red River. And she was writing the books, and the person that she was writing about, they were still alive. They were over 100 years old. And these books, like, people have said to me about my DNA videos that, hey, sis, you kept it real. You kept it 100. Having the blood of them oppressors running through your vein is not a badge of honor. Let me say it for the people in the back. It is not a badge of honor. Okay. You see people on here, and I didn't know what, because then I had to look. And I'm like, what? And it's literally, you have like Arabic people and white people that's finding out they got African running through their bloods, they crying. You got stupid ass black people that found out they ain't got no native and they ain't got this in their blood. Oh, I thought I would have had this, but a European or Native American, and they crying because they don't have that. Well, guess why I'm crying? I'm crying because I didn't have at least 90% African running through my blood. I got so much European blood running through me. That's probably why I'm angry all the time, because to me, they're just a hateful group. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I had somebody post on the, yes, Europeans did some really awful things, but not all white people are bad. Who you talking to? You trying to convince yourself? Don't talk to me about that. This page, this channel ain't for you. Keep it moving. Keep it stepping. I didn't even acknowledge him. Get off my page with that bullshit. That might work for somebody else. It does not work for me. And if you want me to come unglued, keep pressing me about who ain't bad and who's not evil. Okay? And the next thing, I went to a store and they talking about skin bleaching cream. I said, girl, take that shit down. Black is beautiful. They got y'all so screwed up that y'all don't think y'all jet black is beautiful. That shit is beautiful. I don't want my man nothing but blue black. Okay, original Sudanese black. Oh, that's it. And that's where the original man come from over there in them Sudans. Tall. They said y'all was aliens. I could preach a sermon. Let the church say amen. Ashe. I need my coffee. Anyway, let me see. Girl. White folks I was in maybe 3rd or 4th grade when Roots came out. They was real quiet at that time. Yeah, Dr. Mumby, she I worry about her because she did not be playing. She did not be playing at all. Yeah, they talking about, but somebody posted a thing on Facebook about an NFL player, and it looks like it was back in the 70s. It was way back, and it was a black and white picture. And they said he quietly exited the NFL, and he was a really good player because he refused to stand up for the national anthem. So the half-caste individual that took a knee, he does not hold the patent on not standing for the national anthem. But this is how they do you. They want you that, you know. Anyway. Yes. Let's see here. Okay, I don't want that. Are you serious? But you did the African DNA, huh? I did Ancestry, and they said everybody, let me tell you how they did it. The first one, they said I was from Ghana. I was all excited, went to Ghana twice. Then they came back and said they got some more, 16,000 more cursors. And then they said I was from Cameroon, Congo. Then they got some more, and now they say I'm from Nigeria. So the only thing that did not change, and that's what I'm running with, that stayed consistent, was Mali. Mali stayed consistent through all of their changes. So, and that European ship. But yeah, Mali stayed the same. So now it's Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, and Mali. I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. GB2A on you. Listen. Oh, because I got real close up in the screen. Yeah. All right, great people. Any questions at all? The sun is coming up and my body wants some coffee. And of course, I got to go downstairs to get it. I said I bought my table so that I could sit down at my dining room table. And then guess what? I be sitting down there, and then I had to come upstairs to go to the bathroom. So I was like, you know what? Sit down there and eat and come back to get on your throne and handle your business from here with access to the facilities. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so for those people that say, I don't know why people want to be anything but African, but you say we Indians, we this copper tribe or whatever y'all say y'all are. You do understand that Africans have always been master boat builders and master astrologists. That's how the slaves were able to escape. They follow the stars. Me, I couldn't tell you the Big Dipper from the Little Nipper, but our ancestors knew them stars in the sky. And so, yes, they were already in the Americas. As I misspoke on my last one, how do you discover something that already have inhabitants on it? Hmm? Hmm? How do you discover something that there's people already there? And so if you look at original pictures of what they said was natives and these super dark people, now all of a sudden natives are blonde hair, blue eye, Opie, you know, how? How? All right, y'all go to bed because I know on the coast it's y'all bedtime and it's time for us. The church, I'm telling you, the Muslim prayer was at like 5 when I started, and now it is 6:57. And the Lutheran church, they already down there getting it in. They singing and clapping and doing all stuff. And I'm like so blown away because you know us in the United States, ain't nobody showing up to church before 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. They be done by then and going on about their business. So all right, y'all. It's been real. Email me and Pongo. I would love to network with you. I'll see you soon. Nikita, talk to you soon. Thomas, talk to you soon. Who else in here? Nyla, did Nyla leave? Everybody that's in here. And I'm sorry because I usually give my disclaimer if you out in the vestibule to make sure you in the YouTube app for future references. You're watching the live, make sure you're in YouTube, and next to the thumbs up and thumbs down is a little button that says live chat, and you can enter the live chat and come in by all means and say hello. And yes, so it's been fun. So with this one, I have wrapped up the DNA series. That's a wrap. So from now on, it's just going to be live chit chats, future cocktails and conversation, probably more live videos because my phone is on its last leg and I don't know how much I'll be able to go out and catch video of my daily activity. So thank you all for coming. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share my videos with your people and tell them to come get this knowledge because I think I'm fixing to get on that soapbox and I'm going to drop some knowledge on y'all. How about that? Does that sound like a winner? If that sounds like a winner, make sure you give me a thumbs up and let me know if you have anything in particular that you would like to know about, because I know y'all be busy and I'm retired and I can research this stuff and look it up. A lot of the stuff I've already been in contact with and I know about. So maybe weekly I will come with these books, a novel and a fiction and a nonfiction book for you to read and get this party started because we really need to know where we came from. All power to the people, red, black, and green. Okay. And I will talk to y'all. Good night, East Coast, Central time zone. Go to bed, get some sleep. I'm going to go get me some coffee. It is morning. All right. Thank y'all for coming.